Welcome to the Explainer. You know that feeling? You finish a big meal expecting to feel energized, but instead you just feel tired. It's so weird, right? Well, today we're diving into the science of why that happens. We're going to meet a group of unsung heroes, the B vitamins, and see how they're the essential crew that turns the food you eat into the energy you actually feel.
So let's start with that situation, which I'm pretty sure is going to feel very familiar.
Okay, so you eat expecting that awesome rush of energy, but an hour later, maybe you're feeling sluggish, maybe even ready for a nap. It's a really frustrating paradox. If food is our fuel, why isn't the engine always running at full power? Well, it turns out the answer isn't really about the fuel itself, but about the crew that operates the engine, deep, deep inside our cells. All right, so to solve this whole energy mystery, we have got to meet that crew. Let's imagine we're shrinking down and taking a look at the incredible machinery inside our body's microscopic power plants. And this is the absolute key takeaway right here. The carbs, the fats, the proteins from our food, they're just raw materials. Honestly, they can't do a thing on their own. They need a specialist crew to convert them into a form of energy our body can actually use. And that crew, you guessed it, it's the B vitamin family. And wow, as you can see, it is a big family. There are 8 essential B vitamins that make up this power crew, from B1 all the way to B12. Just think of them as a team of specialists, right? Each one has a totally distinct but absolutely critical job to do inside those cellular power plants. So, what is the main job for most of this B vitamin crew? Well, they act as something called a coenzyme. Now, it sounds complicated, but it's a really simple and powerful concept. If an enzyme is a big piece of machinery on the factory floor, the coenzyme is the on switch. B vitamins are that switch. They activate the enzymes that break down our food. Without them, the entire energy assembly line just grinds to a halt. Now, if you're counting along, you might have noticed some gaps in the numbers. That is not a typo. This is actually a fun little piece of scientific history. So it turns out these substances were reevaluated and, well, they were disqualified. See, to be a vitamin, a substance has to be essential for life and something we can't make ourselves. These lost vitamins just didn't meet that high bar. It's kind of like when Pluto was reclassified as a dwarf planet. It's a perfect example of how our scientific understanding of nutrition is always being refined. All right, the crew is assembled. Let's head down to the factory floor, the energy assembly line, to see exactly how they get the job done. The whole thing is this beautifully efficient 4-step process. Okay, so first, the raw fuel gets delivered to the cell. Step 2, our B vitamin crew arrives on the scene to flip those coenzyme switches. That's the signal for all the machinery to kick into gear, starting this cascade of metabolic reactions. And the final output? Usable energy in the form of a molecule called ATP. Let's put a spotlight on a few of these key workers. You've got B1, or thiamine, who we're calling the spark plug. It provides that initial jolt needed to convert carbs into energy. Then there's B2, riboflavin, our turbine operator. It's essential for something called the electron transport chain, which is basically the main power generator in the cell. And finally, B3, or niacin, is the energy transporter, creating these special molecules that literally carry the energy from your food to power the cell. And where does all this amazing, intricate work happen? It's all going down inside the mitochondria. You probably remember them from school as the powerhouses of the cell. And the final product of this entire assembly line is ATP. You got to think of ATP as the universal energy currency that your body spends to power everything, from your muscles moving to your brain thinking, even your own heartbeat. But you know, this talented crew is so much more than a one-trick pony. Their skills are in high demand all over the body, for jobs that go way beyond just making energy. So yeah, beyond pure energy, B vitamins are just fundamental to our overall health. I mean, B9 and B12 are critical for building and repairing our DNA. They also help produce the red blood cells that carry oxygen everywhere. And a healthy nervous system? Well, you can thank vitamins B1, B6, and B12 for helping protect our nerves and even creating the neurotransmitters that regulate our mood. Okay, so now that we know just how vital this crew is for literally everything from energy to our DNA, the big question is, how do we make sure our power plants are fully staffed? As dietitian Natalie Ramito advises here, the best hiring strategy is always a food-first approach. A varied diet of whole foods doesn't just deliver B vitamins, it also provides things like fiber and antioxidants that you're just not going to get from a pill. So where do we find our spark plug, thiamine?
Well, as you can see, it's in a really great mix of foods. Everything from pork and black beans to fortified breakfast cereals and even mussels. And what about our turbine operator riboflavin? You'll find it pretty easily in dairy like yogurt and milk, but also in beef, clams, and almonds. It's kind of amazing how many different food groups can supply these vital nutrients.
And this brings up a really, really important point. Consistency is everything. You see, most B vitamins are water-soluble, which basically means your body doesn't store them for later. Any extra you have is simply flushed out. This means you have to rehire your power crew every single day through your diet to keep that assembly line running smoothly.
And that leads us to our final thought, and maybe the most important one. Every single meal we eat is a choice. It's a chance to either hire a full, skilled power crew for our bodies or to leave our cellular machinery totally short-staffed. The energy we feel, or maybe don't feel, is a direct result of that choice.